Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome to I Love Learning, episode 2. It's actually my season 2, episode 35. If you don't know me, my name is Dr. Gina Anderson, and I am the host of the I Love Learning podcast and the CEO and co founder of Luma Brighter Learning. Luma helps the transportation and logistics industries save lives through our award winning connected learning platform. To find out more about Luma Brighter Learning, you can go to lumabrighterlearning.com. And I would love if you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the link in the comments and follow us. I am so excited today. If you're as excited as I am, let's type "let's go" in the comments. Today, I have a very special guest, and he is going to inspire you and maybe even encourage you to get off the couch and start running. My guest is Geoff Blome, and I'm going to bring him on, and he can do an introduction and tell you what he's passionate about. But when I met Geoff, he wasn't running. And now, right before the call, he told me he signed up for a half marathon. So congratulations. We need to have strength and grit. And thank you, Geoff, for joining me today. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you're passionate about?
Thanks, Gina. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me on your show today. It's awesome. My name is Geoff Blome for the group, and I'm a realtor here in Charleston. Been living here for about 7 years, married for 29, got a couple of grown children, and we're having an absolute blast. But I've been in real estate and wealth management and a lot of financial services over my entire career. So totally passionate about, real estate in general and recently running. So that's a good thing.
I love that. That's so great. And I will say this, people don't believe me. They read my book and they don't believe me. Running is hard for me. I don't even like it. Like, honestly, I don't even enjoy it. I don't like it, but it's hard. And I like to do hard things, and it just makes me feel stronger. And when I get done with it, it's like, man, I did that. And if like you're in Charleston with me, it is hot here. Like,
It's
I'm
hot.
thinking about like going and running after, and I'm thinking like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. So what got you into running? What got you off the couch? Was there something specific that like encouraged you to like, okay, let's start running?
I'd always been kind of athletic and in sports for most of my life. Would run a little bit and tried to stay in shape. So kind of doing the exercise thing was normal. But I had a pretty big event last year. And, that was a personal event that I never saw coming. And, I got diagnosed with stage 2 melanoma out of the
Mhm.
blue. I'm a bald guy. So, I'm out in the sun in Charleston all the
Mhm.
time. And, out of the blue, we had a big issue to deal with. And so
Mhm.
after several surgeries and being kind of like stuck to a couch and kind of working my way through the emotional component of that, I was like, I need
Mhm.
a goal. I got to do something.
Mhm.
And so, as you know, we have the bridge run here for a number of years, and it's freaking fun. And I'd never run a 10K. So 10K, here we went, and I trained for it and crushed it. So, it kind of stuck, and I enjoyed the group I was running with. So I don't know, there's no turning back now. I keep running, but like you, the long runs are a grind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really interesting. Geoff shared openly on social media. I actually saw when Geoff shared that he was diagnosed with cancer. And, I know Geoff, and he's like he's an incredible human, as you can see. But, you never think it's going to happen to you. You never think that you're going to have a hurdle in your life that just happens one day. You get the email, you get the phone call, and it just takes the wind out of you, and your life will
Completely.
never be the same. And so, what helped you? Like, was there anything specific like that helped you kind of get through that, or like a mindset or something you learned, or like take me through that, because I mean, your breath is taken away from you, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, so there's a lot, and I think like anything in life, you get roadblocks, you get stumbles, career things happen, family things happen, health things happen, and for me, I've always just approached it. I'm an incredibly perseverant person. That
Mm,
that is who I am. So I always kind of just push through things.
mhm,
But I look at adversity as a challenge. I look at adversity as something that excites me. So if
mm,
I get hit with something like that, it's not a roadblock. It's just a little bit of adversity. And I use it as a challenge to kind of push through. So, I'm fortunate that I have an amazing family network, an amazing friend network, very strong faith that helps me get through. But, honestly, it is grit. It is perseverance. And you just have to have a mindset that, I'm not done yet. I think I had told you that when we had dinner at once, and it's like, I'm not done, and I want to keep crushing life. And so I just, you have to pick yourself up, and some days are hard, some days are harder. But there's a lot of really good days. So I've recycled that, and it's worked pretty well for me. Now I get to the point where I'm just looking to try to do something good every day, whether I'm at the grocery store, whether I'm out running, whether I'm talking to people. It's just, can I do something that makes somebody smile, that, helps me feel good about what's going on, and just kind of go from there.
I love that, because most of us look outward for answers. We look to books or we look to experts, but really, right, it's the grit and it's what's inside of us. And you take the moment every day, every moment. I mean, Jeff's a bright light, as you all can see, but you feel it. I mean, you can feel it coming from you, and the love and the goodness, and you are not done yet. You are just
Not even close.
not even close. What keeps you happy and going every day? What is it?
So I honestly enjoy, I think I saw some of your podcasts where you always asked, about winning, right? And what winning is to you. And for me, winning is just that. It's like taking that step forward each and every day, trying to learn as much as you can. I'm never really afraid of a challenge. I look back on my life, and, I've moved from Texas to New York for a job. I got married to somebody from the East Coast, and 29 years later, things are still going great. But now we live in South Carolina, and, we're getting ready to have our first grandkid, and we're going to transition back to Texas. So it's like a full circle thing.
Yeah.
But I honestly, it's just, for me, it's like, I always try to tell people, never be afraid to take that step. Whether it's education, whether it's just self-assurance, hey, I want to go work out and I don't know how to do it. Step out, ask somebody, find somebody that's doing it. But I honestly think that's what it is. You have to want to go forward and learn something new. And that's kind of life, right? I mean, I think if people just got so content, then we'd be very stagnant, be very boring. So I don't know. I like shaking it up a little bit.
I like shaking it up. I think about, men's mental health. A lot of men don't talk about it, and we work in an industry that is male dominated. And one of the topics that came up, and the reason I started this podcast, is people wanted to learn about depression. And, talking through a lot of safety directors in the industry, they've experienced different males, and it just happens to be males. I mean, this impacts females too, but males committing suicide or ending their life, not having that champion inside that they feel that they can turn to inside to help them move forward. So, and a lot of people struggle with depression, especially when they have a roadblock, like, whether, like you said, it's grief or a diagnosis, a health issue, a family issue. What recommendation would you have for that person if they're listening today and they're suffering in silence, to help them move forward?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing, take a deep breath, just take it in. And I did that for a bit. You just have to block out some of the noise. A lot of times, you take a deep breath, and then you start thinking, and you start thinking, well, what do I want to do? How am I going to approach this? There's a couple of ways you could do it, right? You can roll up on the couch and just be a ball of mud and just, feel miserable. Or you can say, you know what, for 20 minutes today, I'm going to go outside, taking a long walk, and just, take baby steps, if you will. But I think it's, especially for guys, it's hard to admit when you're expected to be so strong, you're expected to carry the burden, you're expected to do all these things and not really show emotion. So, you have a life-changing event like that, where there's a death, or it's a health matter, or, there's just a life-altering moment. Could be this career, somebody lost a job, and you just gotta breathe, you gotta step back, kind of assess it, and then, make a plan. You just get yourself to take a few steps forward. And I've always just found that, it's the little ones. If you can just chip away at a big problem, it'll eventually get solved and resolved. But if you try to bite it off in one fell swoop, it's just overwhelming. You'll stress yourself out and you just can't do it.
Yeah, I like that, like, make a plan, it's like you gotta have a plan because otherwise you're just meandering, right?
That's
It's like
right.
you have to have a plan, and maybe it's a 10K plan, right? It gets you
Right.
out because I remember you saying to me that you would never be able to do that. I
I didn't think
remember
so.
you didn't
Yeah.
think so, but you did. You made a plan, you found a group, you found your community, you found the people, and you got over it. You
Yeah,
got over
well, totally,
it.
and it was just getting people that were maybe just a little more motivated, a little more confident in that,
Yes.
and it was like that helped because, the first several weeks were brutal, just
Yeah.
going through the training, but you just kept going back because, quite frankly, you enjoyed their time, their company, their support, and at the end of the day, now all of a sudden you're running, and I'm looking at people, come on, I'm recruiting them to come with me, so.
Yes, yes. I loved seeing you the morning at the bridge run because I was like
It was a
really
blast.
remembering that time when you're like, I remember like my knees hurt. I can't do it. I only can make 2 miles. You said, I don't even know if I'll make 3 miles, but you had that inner voice. You said, you can't, but then you turned around and you said, I can. You have a mind of a champion. You are
Yeah, I
so
mean, it's
incredible.
just taking life on, I mean, we're all here for a ride, right? So why not enjoy it as we go? And my big phrase is, "I'm not done yet," and
Yes.
I'll say, my kids get so tired of me because I say, "Go crush the day," but I
Uh-huh.
mean, go make it a great day.
Crush the day.
Why not?
I think that's gonna be the theme of this podcast. Go crush the day. I love that, and you're not done yet. 2 weeks ago, last week we didn't have internet, so I did not have my podcast. But the week before, I had my friend Max Farrell on, and he asked the question about joy. I love this like concept of joy, and so he wanted to know, Geoff, what does it take for someone struggling to find joy and unlock it? How does someone find joy when it's lost?
Yeah, it's hard. I think you just have to know that it's there, right?
Mm,
You have to seek it out in maybe different forms. So
mm,
if your normal world, let's say, has been busted up, you've got to find a way, a new hobby, a new emotion, a new, passion to try to lock onto that elicits that feeling of joy for yourself. So for me, it was running. I needed to get out of the house. I had to do something different.
yeah.
I couldn't do a lot of the things that I needed to do because of it. So throw on the baseball cap and go for a walk, go for a run, whatever it was. For some people, it may just be reading. Some people, it
Mhm,
might be, gardening. But whatever that thing is, just hold yourself accountable to go do that more often. And I think what you'll find is it becomes a habit. And then when it
mhm,
becomes a habit, then when you're missing it. So
mhm,
like when I was in Houston this last week, I was really busy with work and really busy with things. I didn't get an opportunity to work out. I missed it. So when I
mhm.
got back, I was immediately able to get right back in my routine. But that's what I would honestly say for somebody. If it's, you got to take the small step, find something that gives you some joy.
Absolutely. And you know what? The thing is, like, even if you don't feel like it, I mean, because you don't feel great, like you say, unless you prep yourself to go out and have a good day, it's hard sometimes to harness that. So definitely being consistent, trying to do it again and again and again is so, so important. So next week, Geoff, I have Vanessa Thompson on my podcast, and she is really passionate about invention. And so, what should we ask her? Do you have a good question to ask Vanessa next week?
Next week, it might be, so being with inventions,
Mhm.
they have a lot of failure. Not
Oh,
everything works, right? So I would say ask her how she overcomes failure when you put so much time, energy, and effort into something and it doesn't work. What do
right.
you do then? And how do you get through the next step to go invent something else?
That is beautiful. I love that question. That's a really impactful question. I can't wait to see what Vanessa says. Geoff, where can people find you? Where can they learn more about you and connect with you? And if they need inspiration to get off the couch and start running, I'm sure you have a plan set because you're doing this half marathon. Where can they
Yeah,
find
we're
you?
gonna we're gonna give it a go for a longer one. So we'll see how that
All
goes in the
right.
fall.
All right. Just know it's okay to slow down because at the end it gets a little tricky, It's okay. As long as you
Absolutely.
finish. Where
Well,
can they
if you can
find
do it,
you?
I can do it, right? So
Absolutely.
that's where we'll be. But yeah, you can find me in Charleston. I have a website called jeffsellscharleston.com. That's probably the easiest way to reach out to me. It's got all my social there, Instagram, Facebook, and all my other sites. So that'd be great. And you can kind of see my story there as well. I've got a video on that website that I'll give you kind of like my life history and who I am and why I'm the way I am, I think. So
Yeah, I
it's
love
kind of cool.
that. You wanna leave us with some lasting words as we head in off this Friday Junior?
Yeah, my thing would be just don't quit. I think, learning is part of life. And, I love your new book and I think it was fun and you said a lot of things in there, but it's just do hard things, don't quit, push yourself, stay accountable. And, you'll find that when those dark days come around, because it's going to be here, you can push through them. So that's what my message would be.
Aw, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Geoff. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you all reach out to Geoff. He's an incredible human. Until next week, we will see you. Be well, be kind, and thank you for joining us today. So, thanks for watching.